Jewel Cooks with a dash of English and a pinch of fashion. Our reading segment today is chicken Caesar salad. Doesn't that sound good? Our English segment is the forming contractions, and our fashion segment is Mexican fashions in the early 1900s. Now come on back after our fashion and English segments.
Hi, everybody. As Jewel said, our English segment today is about forming contractions. Contractions are, well, they're a shortened way to say and write words. For instance, if you just don't want to say or write the words cannot, you can shorten it to the contraction can't. Let's say you don't want to say or write the words will not. You can shorten it to the contraction won't. The meaning will still stay the same. Here are some very popular contractions. It is shortened to the word it's. Now, how to form contractions? Well, it's pretty easy. All you do is take the words that you want to shorten and you add an apostrophe and you drop a letter. The meaning will still stay the same. For instance, let's look at the contraction can't. Like I said before, we have can, not. Two separate words. To form this into a contraction, you keep the word can, C-A-N, keep the word in, you drop the letters N and O in the word not, you add an apostrophe, and then you add the T and not. And you have the word can't. Let me write that a little neater. Can, add an apostrophe. That apostrophe takes the place of the N and the O that are in not, and then you add a T. So now you have a brand new word where you've taken two words, you shorten them into one word, but it still means the same. Cannot means that you can't do something. Can't means the same thing. I can't do it. Let's do one more. Let's take it is. So we have the words it, I-T, and the word is, and we want to form them into a contraction. We'll keep it, I-T. We will drop the I in is. We'll add an apostrophe. An apostrophe is just like a comma, but it's in the air. And then we'll add the S. And now we have a new shortened word, it's. It is means something that is to be. It's means the same thing. But make sure you have that apostrophe because without the apostrophe, then it means the possessive of it's. And we're not talking about possessives today. So there you go. Apostrophes are really useful when you are doing more informal writing and speaking, whereas using the original two words is better if you're doing a more formal writing and speaking. So here's to writing contractions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our fashion segment of Jewel Cooks. Today, I am featuring Mexican attire from the 1900s time period. During this time, the women wore full skirts. I have prototypes today. Little prototypes I sewed up. The women wore full skirts made of many colors like pink, orange, red, yellow, sometimes green, and they had bright yellow and sometimes green. They had shirts that were white, sometimes had a little bit of color in them, and had off the shoulder sleeves that were off the shoulders, and they usually had like a little bit of fringe, as you can see, and then come off the shoulders. So as you can see, colorful skirt. And the men, sorry, kind of dark, but the men wore kind of like a tuxedo type, but more of like Mexican tradition type. So they had like a little fringe type tie on the top. They had a bow tie as well. It also came with a hat of many colors or sometimes tan or brown. They also have fringe on the pants at the bottom sometimes. and they usually dance in these. They're more of like a dancing attire, but it's where the Mexicans wore in the 1900s. Welcome back. So as I said before, we're making chicken Caesar salad. And a little history about chicken Caesar salad. It was invented by Caesar Cardetti in Mexico. And Italian immigrants who adopted it operated restaurants in Mexico and the US. So let's get started. So first we start off with our chicken. We have three kind of on the small side chicken breasts, and we're just going to salt them with salt and pepper on both sides. And we're just going to put these in our skillet and brown them and then cover them and let them finish off. Good. Let me grab my oil. And always remember, have your sink of soapy water, which is right here, ready so you can wash your hands, because since we're using raw chicken, we're going to always have to wash our hands to keep from getting salmonella. And I have my pan heating in here with a couple of tablespoons of oil, which I'm going to brown my chicken with. So while it's heating, I've already chopped half some stuffed mozzarella olives. I did about a couple of tablespoons of them. And of course, we're going to add Parmesan cheese, Italian seasoning, Caesar dressing, croutons, and our romaine. Okay, now since our skillet is nice and heated, nice and hot, we're going to get our chicken in there. So we can probably, since these are rather small chicken breasts, we can fit these all in this 12-inch skillet. So let's get those in there. And you want to hear that sizzle, that means your pan is nice and heated. Okay, now that our chicken is browned on one side, we want to flip it over. Using a spatula and a fork, gonna flip over our chicken. Look at that gorgeous color. I'm dying. Now we covered our chicken and we turned down the heat, so because you just want to cook it thoroughly. That was just browning one side because while it's cooking in the middle, it'll brown on the other side, get a nice golden caramel color. So our chicken is done cooking all the way through, and we had it cook all the way through 25 minutes. And then halfway through, about 10 minutes through, we flipped it over and let it brown some more. So we're going to take out our chicken and we're going to put it in the fridge to shock it and let it cool. And while they're cooling, we'll start plating up our salad. Okay. So I took our chicken out, which is poured nicely. We're going to start slicing it up to put it on the salad. So we can cut it in cubes or we can just slice it in thin layers. I want to do it, I think I'm going to do small cubes. And children, always remember, have an adult present when you are cooking. Do not handle sharp knives alone. So now we're ready to plate it up. So we start with our lettuce first. And I'm making 3 plates for my family. And divide this lettuce among the 3 plates. This has already been rinsed and chopped romaine hearts. And remember, when you're making the lettuce, do not take the leaves, the very first leaves, because those leaves are usually very dirty because they get most of the work. And do not take the very last leaves because those are very bitter. Now, once that's there, we want to go and get our olives on our plate. These are stuffed Manzala olives. And then we want to get our chicken that has been chopped and shredded. Split that equally among the plates. And then, doesn't that look good and healthy? And you want to get your croutons next. Usually just store-bought croutons because didn't have time to make them. But you can always make them with some good Italian bread, olive oil, and seasoning. Just want to scatter them among the plates. And next you want to get your Parmesan cheese. Layer that on because who doesn't love Parmesan cheese? I know it's my favorite cheese. Oh, and a little fun fact about Caesar salad. Julia Child claimed to have eaten a Caesar salad at Cardini's, who was the person who invented the Caesar salad, as a child in the 1920s. Isn't that cool? Then you want to add your Italian seasoning. And then last but not least, your Caesar dressing. And you can always make this. It's a buttermilk-based dressing. You can always make this. Just look up a recipe. And you just want to layer that all on. Drizzle it all on your salad. And then you have a delicious chicken Caesar salad.